Hi, Coco.
Thank you so much for doing this.
It's my pleasure.
And Irene and I, we have been working together and for the past 3 months. And now we're approaching the end of the journey.
I'm excited. I'm sad but excited.
Yes, exactly. Bittersweet, right?
Truly, truly.
Yeah. And then I would love to hear your thoughts on your experience, this 3 months coaching experience. And the first start with when you started 3 months ago, what were you challenged with that made you consider coaching?
You know, I think for me personally, and maybe like many others, I went through a huge transformation during the pandemic and afterwards. Just being isolated at home and then some personal things that occurred. And I went through a huge shift. I suffered some loss. I left my job in corporate America, um, and I'm now settled in a new place. And while, on the surface I appeared happy, there was just an underlying, I was kind of overwhelmed with all the decisions I needed to make. And I felt like I needed to get some wind in my sails, a big, strong wind in my own sails. So that's why I decided to take the leap.
Hmm. So yeah, the way I like the analogy that you use, a big, strong wind in your sail.
Yeah.
And then ultimately where were you selling to? Like what is this life you wanted to live and how different?
Well, Coco, eh, in addition to going through all those personal transformations, I'm also approaching a very large birthday, my upgrade, as I call it. Um, for me, I the time has passed so quickly and it was shocking. And I thought, okay, where do you want to be? I knew that birthday was going to be here soon. It's coming in February. And I thought, well, where do I want to be? How am I going to get there? And I needed to distill what exactly I wanted. And that's another reason why I wanted to live a very intentional life and have no more excuses for why I wasn't thriving the life I
Mm-hmm.
kind of envisioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember when we first started, it's like my life is good, but feels like I want to have a great life, great intentional life.
Yeah, there were so many habits over the years from relationships, situations, dogma of society, things that you're supposed to act a certain way. And I wanted to shed all of that and really step into who I am as a woman, as a person, as a human, and thrive. Right. And I
Mm-hmm.
was having a
Mm-hmm.
difficult time processing some of that dogma and letting it go and forgiving myself, which you were so helpful in and teaching me about self-compassion, which is what your program is based in.
Yeah, for sure. So great. And then with that goal in mind, what made you choose chose me as your
Well,
coach?
you know the story, but I'll tell everyone else. Um, your bravery. Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Uh, your bravery. You and I were colleagues professionally and in corporate America many years ago. And, I always looked at you as a very together, high achieving individual. And when I saw you share your stories on LinkedIn about this transformation in your own life and what you had gone through, which had very similar parallels to what I went through, I thought, she's going to get this. She's going to understand where I'm coming from. And you looked so happy. I thought I need to find out what kind of Kool-Aid she drank.
Uh, so are you happy? So what did you enjoy most about the Kool-Aid that you were drinking with me?
Coco, it's gonna sound super hokey, but I don't care. Um, I feel like I'm my own best friend.
Mm.
We're so much harder on ourselves than we are to our friends. And you said something to me early on, which is if you spoke to a friend the way you're speaking to yourself, or if your friend spoke to you the way you're speaking to yourself, would you still be friends with that person? And I thought, no, no, I wouldn't. Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I just the negative self-talk? It wasn't good. And there's so many things that go into that: corporate culture, how we were raised, regret, past situations that, as I always say, you can't drive the car looking in the rearview mirror, right? So I had to let that go. But there's a big gap between conceptually letting it go and actually letting it go. And
Yeah.
you helped me get there. And I really do feel like I'm my own best friend. I've always thought I was great company, but now I'm very compassionate to myself. I tell myself I'm proud of myself. Girl, you got this. You're doing so great today, or you've had a great week. And just taking that time to have that personal reflection of good. And other goals that I want to have, but just to congratulate myself for getting through a day, which can sometimes be challenging.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
Exactly, because who is the person that spend most time with you?
me.
Yourself?
Well, my cat. Yeah. He likes me better too.
Uh-huh. So now you're your best friend and your biggest champion.
I am. I really am. And
Mhm.
it feels wonderful. It feels
Yeah.
wonderful.
So what do you feel that what's better in your personal and professional life?
Um, I was able to identify the values that were important to me right now. You gave me tools that I'm going to be able to leverage and use moving forward to, every month, every quarter, once a year. What's important to me value wise and skill wise that I want to embrace this year. And that's going to be ever shifting based on where I am and what I want. And you gave me those tools to evaluate those key values. For me, it was really walking the walk, right? And walking the talk. At which, for my creative nature, I always thought discipline was something that was kind of a bad word. It was like, oh, I don't want that discipline. But what I realized is that that thought of discipline was a very childlike view of it, right? Um, for anyone. I think discipline is really about achieving, taking the time to achieve what you want. And you're not going to get there without discipline, without tenacity, and rigor in looking at yourself. And so for me, it was identifying those values, understanding that there was no one steering my ship but me. And if I wanted to get where I wanted to go, that I needed discipline. And once I accepted that, it wasn't a bitter pill anymore. It was, yeah, I'm taking the time to give myself structure. So I have a ton of free time at the end of the day to explore other things, relax, try new hobbies, be creative, and just be me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm hearing, it is the two sides, right? It is one side, it is that you used to be so hard and so critical on yourself, and now you become so much more self-compassionate, right? But on the
Oh
other
yeah.
side, yeah, on the other side is that you used to, um, because you don't see discipline as something good for you, right?
Right.
And now you actually have more discipline. So even though on the surface it's like these two separate things, actually these two things ultimately the same thing because that's truly value yourself, right? Self value, self love, and treating yourself as a
Right.
best friend.
Yeah, and it's and really giving my physical self the care that it needs to shine, which is
Mm.
rest, which is self-compassion. Take physically taking care of myself and emotionally taking care of myself allows me to really be thriving right now and confident and
Mhm.
comfortable and relaxed. And um I'm not feeling as if there's going to be some invisible hand puppeteering my life. I'm driving my car.
Yes. responsibility, self-responsibility,
Yeah,
so
and
ownership.
accountability and
Yeah,
accountability. You
ability
know,
for sure.
you can use a bunch of mirrors to shift the image, but it's still the same
Mm-hmm.
image. You're kidding yourself in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then as you're looking forward to the big milestone first day, that very well worth celebrating. And so how you're feeling about yourself?
Oh, I'm so hopeful. I'm excited. I'm proud, really proud of myself. You know, oh, hold on, where's my Kleenex? No. I achieved more with you in 3 months than I did in 5 years of therapy. I tell my friends this all the time. Because the process with you and with therapy, but you asked the right questions and you shared of yourself too. So it wasn't a place of judgment. It was just a conversation, a real human conversation that allowed me to understand that what I was feeling was okay. It was normal, and that the human experience is difficult and painful sometimes, just as it's joy filled and exciting. It's a lot sometimes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also I want to acknowledge your courage, right?
Mhm.
Your courage, your openness and your vulnerability, and also your willingness to do the hard work. It's
I
almost
call it the muck of life, digging in the muck of life, right? You've got to be willing to
exactly.
kind of dig around there
Mm-hmm.
and figure out the underlying why of
Mm-hmm.
the actions.
For sure, for sure. So what would you tell someone who's considering um, working with me?
uh, the same that I've told everyone, that it was really the best investment I've made in myself in a long time. I mean, I've had books, you gave me a ton of tools to use, but looking back at some of the decisions I've made and things I've tried to do to kind of get that wind behind my sails, um, you were able to provide me with the tools, provide me with a safe space to explore those feelings of inadequacy and treat myself with compassion. And so I that's what I tell everyone. It's the best money I've spent. Sorry, forget the yoga classes or the this or the that. All those things are great if you have the support and the willingness to do them. But if you're holding yourself back because you're thinking negatively about yourself, or you don't have enough discipline in your life, so when you're doing them, your mind isn't really focused on what you're doing at that moment. It was just a quieting by my having that, and instilling that discipline and that structure in my life that I needed. And someone else's experience might be different, and you'll help them get there. But for me, I was able to fully be present in those tools that I had there available to me, but I wasn't using correctly or fully. So
Mm.
yeah, just it helped me be very present. It was an excellent investment. Like I said, 5 years of therapy didn't get me to where I am now. So no offense to my former doctors, but don't know what to say. And you weren't gestalt about it. You weren't like, because life gives us enough of that, right? Life is hard. There's always criticism coming at us. I never felt criticism or judgment from you. Um, it was very accepting and understanding and sharing. I wasn't alone, and I wasn't weird to be having the feelings I was having.
Mm. Thank you. You're
You're
such an
welcome.
amazing, amazing client. And then it is lastly, anything else you would like to share?
Oh my goodness. You know, go for it. Go for it. If life is short, um, you know, and someone might say, oh, the financial commitment. Look, lattes, subscriptions I don't use. There's many areas of my life that I was able to look at and see how I was wasting financial resources that I could easily afford this. And the rewards were almost immediate. I saw a change in myself, conversations with myself, and a shift in my mental attitude that is priceless, really. So, I would tell, anyone who's considering it, or anyone who's considering getting a life coach, that if you're at that point in your life where you want that wind in your sails, you need, sometimes you just need that lift. You were there. You blew me along when I was not capable of doing that. So thank you.
Wow, thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for being such a wonderful, wonderful client. And I really truly enjoyed working with you. And I'm just really so proud of you, seeing the transformation
Thank you.
of you.
It's been a great process too, Coco. I didn't know you well personally. I knew you as a trusted colleague, um, you know, and an acquaintance, a friend. We shared some yoga classes and such, but really, it's been a beautiful experience, and I'm grateful, and I can't wait to see you. And this was done all virtually too, which is what, blew my mind. I can't wait when I get to Florida next, and we can actually
Yes,
celebrate together.
absolutely. I likewise, likewise.